We're live.
We are live. Good morning, everyone.
Top of the morning. I'm tipping my hats off for you.
She's got hair, which is super cool, huh? Well, it's Thankful Thursday. Again, some call it Thirsty Thursday. And we are super grateful to be here. So we're jamming some music. We're getting primed up right here. And we'll start the show in a moment.
I will say, got to do a nice little clink of the coffee.
Yeah.
I know Dave has his coffee every morning, and I get to be involved in the experience, which is phenomenal. So if you have your cup of joe, cheers to you.
Great morning, Dave and Nicole. Who's Nicole?
I'll take it.
Yeah.
I could be a Nicole in a past life.
Nicole's
bring
a cool
it
name,
into
right?
the day.
Right? All right, there's Brandon. Brandon, good to see you. I hope everyone's doing well today. We have a epic show for you, and we are we don't have any headphones on. And we are using the same mic. So if there's a challenge hearing us, please let us know. We're doing our best to project forward, but most importantly, we're doing our best to share with you today a lot of gratitude. First of all, for you investing and sharing your time with us. And second of all, like, you know what? It's super important to surround yourself with the right people. And I only met Michelle on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
And I started seeing her out at events, and I recognized that she was a personal development nerd like myself. And we really jam on behaviors and how to optimize our lives. And of course, how to rest and honor our lives and our minds and our bodies when it's time to like take a chill, right? Because we're really wired, or at least we're told in society, to achieve, you got to go, 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 go. And it's not always like that. So, Michelle, perhaps you want to start off with a quote.
Oh, man. I feel like this quote this morning really sets the premise for today. I know the topic is our lollipop moments, and bringing that back to really being that person your younger self needed. That's key. And I know Dave was actually telling me that this morning. I think it's really important that we look at ourselves when we were 5, 7 years old. And this is when personality really starts to develop in you. And not only your interests, but going back to that age and say, hey, who did I look up to when I was 5 years old? Who was my number one? And keeping that in mind, now I'm 25. We're now the role models for these 5-year-olds, making sure that they feel well taken care of and do what you think that you needed when you were their age.
I love it. So let's say hi to a few people, and you'll start us off with that quote. So Tom says Irish coffee. Actually, we both have bulletproof coffee. Ching. We both have our bulletproof coffee. Steve, good morning. Laura Corno. Hi, Michelle. Aww. That's awesome. Jim Idstein. Good morning, Dave and Michelle. Thank you, Laura. One of my favorite people. Michelle, she's one of my favorite people too. Yeah. Aubrey Sanchez. I love Aubrey Sanchez. Aubrey Sanchez shared a lollipop moment with me going to Disney with her and her daughter. So I remember you sharing that with me, Aubrey, and that was actually a lollipop moment for myself. Rebecca says hi. Amelia Woods. Michelle is the baddest. Ritesh Shah. Oh, keep it simple, Ritesh. Tyler Hawk. Good morning. Brianna Reyes. Good morning. Aww. And so nice to see two smiling faces this morning. Oh yeah, we're here.
So much energy. We would be like this without this coffee, though. Let's be honest. This is just who we are, with or without caffeine.
Yeah.
So, and it's so good to see everyone this morning. I love my queens out there.
Why don't you start us off with that quote?
Oh, our lovely be who your younger self needed, or also something that's resonating with me right now that also relates to lollipop moments is be the smile that you can change someone's day with. We could get very philosophical on that because you truly don't know through another lens how your day's going. If you're a stranger, if I just shoot you a quick smile, Took me what? A millisecond? But that could have really impacted you and your day.
Yeah.
And you could have been, golly, thinking of a lot of terrible negative things, but really a smile could brighten someone's day.
Yeah.
And that's key for positivity. Positive psychology is what's going to move us forward.
I love that. So share a smile with a stranger. Give them a lollipop moment today. Welcome to this episode of Live Beyond Default Livestream. It's your weekly dose of personal growth. My name is Dave. I'm a realtor. I'm a personal development nerd. And this here.
Hi, I'm Michelle. I am a recruiter, but really a story listener. I love to be a part of your day-to-day and happiness engineer, if you will.
And we are so happy that you're sharing and investing this next half hour, 40 minutes with us. Last week, we talked a lot about network equity, the account that builds your bank account. And most importantly, network equity is really all about relationships. How are we cultivating those relationships? How are we showing up for friends, family, coworkers, kids, significant others, and those that we love? And most importantly, how can we add value to others in our life versus wanting to take things from them? And that's really what it's all about. That's what this community is about. It's about giving. It's about sharing. And a lot of times it's really just about listening. How many times have you had someone share something with you that's been really challenging in their life? And of course, we want to try to fix it, right? Like, oh, I did this, or tell them what to do. And it's like, you know what? Sometimes it's best just to listen and hold space and not share what to do. And that alone, a lot of times the problem or challenge will just solve itself. So thank you all for being here. We got a super cool show today. We're talking about lollipop moments, what they are, and why do they matter, right? Like, there's a lot of reasons for that. And this is a lollipop moment for me, which is super cool. And how do we create more lollipop moments, not just in our lives, but we want to fill our cups with lollipop moments so then we can sprinkle that around to the people that we know and the people that we love. And like Michelle said, strangers. So we have Jen Pizzo coming at us from Florida.
Some nice sunshine.
Thanks for being on here. Laura says, so true. Good energy so far. Let's go. Lisa says, princess. Brianna says, so many badasses in this group right now. It's so great to see everyone. Loving this energy this morning. Jennifer, we miss you too. So what's been going on the last week? I'm going to ask, like, has the week been epic so far for you? And if it hasn't, then we know, we say this all the time, right? It's time for us to take responsibility of why the week has not been epic, right? Like, it's so easy to blame the economy, the weather, our bosses, our significant other, the president. It's so easy to blame outside factors for our happiness. And then we know what happens when we do that is it gets us in like a victim villain mentality, which we don't do here, right? Live beyond default. We get out of our comfort zones. We step up and we say, you know what? Maybe if we effed up, we effed up. We know that everything that we have in our lives today, it's a culmination of the decisions that we've made after all these years. You know, I was going to wear heels today because look at me and look at Michelle. I was going to wear heels and she's like, you know, Dave.
I could take my shoes off if you'd like.
Oh, no, don't take them off. I love it. We're a great contrast together. So let's think about that, right? If our week hasn't been epic so far, this is the time right now, Thursday morning on Live Beyond Default, to step it up to the next level, raise our energy, take responsibility for what's happened in this past week, and just move forward, right? It's another day, and we're loving you all for being here. So thank you again. Garen, thanks for joining us. Amelia says, I literally woke up in a bad mood this morning because of the economy. LOL. And the economy, it happens, right? So many people, a lot of us, right? We might be losing money in the stock market. And I'm thinking, man, like, let's buy things now because they're cheap, right? So I know what you're saying, Amelia. It's the economy. Things go in cycles and
ebbs and flows.
Ebbs and flows. Yeah. And that's why it's super important to create these lollipop moments. Jack says top of the world. Tom says, Dave, your presentation at SBA about planning your day and calendaring your day changed me. Hey, Tom, thank you so much for sharing that. I super appreciate that. And yeah, we have a lot of practices that we're doing here. And I want to start out before we get into lollipop moments. Michelle, you've been super active on LinkedIn. I mostly see you on there. And you're challenging people to live beyond default on a regular basis. And you're challenging yourself. And I want to know, like, from you, have you ever got into that point where over the last 5 or 10 years, you're reading a lot of things, you're learning a lot of things, but maybe you felt like you were doing things when maybe you weren't really doing them? Like you're reading all this stuff and it's almost like information overload, but then you're not applying them. Like, has that ever happened to you on your progression and your journey?
Yeah, I would definitely say so. And first, I'll even rewind a little bit. Our worlds are the same. Living beyond default is your core. And I always say spice up life, hence my little fire emoji. I should put like a chili pepper in there. Yeah. Spicing up life is key. And that's what kind of drives me to live every day as a new day. And so being surrounded by all this content, I will attribute a lot of success most recently to trying the 75 hard. If you've ever heard of this, it's kind of like a workout challenge, a reading challenge, drinking gallons of water. So it's kind of whole mind and body. They feed off each other. One hand feeds the other here. That's always key in your life. And so being immersed by so much knowledge, I would say making sure you're intentional about it and starting the right practices to be intentional in a whole lot of information. So for instance, the 75 hard, I attribute to reading more books right now. It just started saying read 10 pages a day. It's like, I could do that. Anyone could. They got 10 minutes in their day, read a couple pages. And that drive of this activity has given me so much knowledge. And so the way I apply it is being active on LinkedIn, is talking about these things with people. Don't keep it contained in your brain, either write it down in a journal, save it in a folder, but share it. I think that's what's going to make you teach it. Being a teacher is what we all need to be, or being a leader is what we all need to be. And sharing that information, actually, again, psychologically, if you tell someone this story, it's going to stick in your brain. So share the knowledge and it will stick in your plasticity of your brain.
I like that.
It's the psychology major coming out of me, guys.
Yeah, and I like that. Marcello, thank you for joining us today. You were on last week too for the first time. Thanks, brother. I appreciate it. I think something that Michelle brought up there that was really important was sharing what you're doing with others. And it's not bragging. It's not telling people what to do. We like to say that we're all doing the best we can with what we have at this time and always. And that's super important to remember, coming from that frame and recognizing that we're not always going to be at the top level. But even if we're kind of down here and we're showing up and getting to that level, even if it's down here, it's the best that we can do. And sometimes, like, take, for instance, it's called 75 hard. Yeah. And I've heard some other people that have done that. And some people said it's just too much. And they're only doing part of it. And I'm like, well, that's not really the 75 hard. But the point is, like, you're doing something. It's forward progress. And you mentioned about reading 10 pages a day. Like, that is a game changer. So think about this. Most people from 25 on read like 2 books in their life. Like, in their life. And when I heard that stat before, I was like, that can't be. That can't be. I mean, even now there's like ebooks and Kindle. Like, you don't have to open a book. You could just have it on your tablet. But that's the reality, right? And reading 10 pages a day gets you to reading 1 book a month, like a 300-page book a month. And that's 12 books a year. Like, think about that. Just reading 10 books a year, 12 books a year, and then applying one thing every month from that book. You know, that almost reminds me of that book, The Happiness Project. Did you ever read that? Where she put herself, something about Einstein had some ways of doing something, and then she applied like one thing every month to test to see if it would like raise her level of happiness. But the point is, like, imagine reading one book a month and then applying one of the things you learned in the book every single month. Imagine like how your life would be.
Dang. If it's okay with you, I'll even raise your 10 pages a day. Before I was very against reading 2 books at one time. And I was like, how do I keep this straight? What's going on? But most recently, I brought them with for show and tell.
Let's see.
Currently reading Daniel Pink, To Sell as Human.
Daniel Pink, you've got to love him. Daniel Pink, I highly recommend him. Yeah.
Yes, but then even the fact I also started reading this book, How to Make People Like You in 90 Seconds or Less. Naturally, by being myself, I don't care if you like me or not. No, I'm just kidding. But applying both of these, it really makes your brain connect 2 things into one. And that's why I do what I do, is I love to connect 2 resources, and it just makes all of the lessons make sense. Once you learn something in here, saying like, we could go deep again, psychology. I learned a fact in here, and bringing it into this book, the 2 correlate. And that's what life is about, is like you and I coming together, collaborating, connecting, making lollipop moments. It's all the more special when 2 things come together, honestly. So try reading 2 books at once. Give it a shot. Again, I was very much so against it, but open-mindedness is key.
I always like how you level things up, and it's always like more and more of a challenge, right? And that's good, because I want to be poked, right? I want to play big in my life, and it's super, super impactful when you're surrounding yourself with people that will call you in if you're playing small, right? And they'll poke you to play bigger and to go farther and to get you out of that comfort zone. And then at times when you're down, they'll just be there to hold space, right? It's like, we have a saying, we don't throw sprinkles on a shit show. And it's okay to be like wallowy at times, because it's gonna happen. Rebecca says she's reading the 5 a.m. Club right now. I haven't read that one, but I like that.
Yes.
Lollipop Moments, love it. The infinite 1% is the way to make huge progress with small steps. Yes. Love it. Yes.
That's
and
spicing up life at its finest. 1% a day.
I love that. There's another one. It's called Slight Edge Habits. That's what it's called. So that's like that 1%. Super cool. Elena, good to see you on here. And someone says information overload is real. Analysis paralysis is sometimes difficult to parse through, right?
I like that.
Yeah, it totally is. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So thank you for saying that. Mark says psychology represents. So if you're just joining us, this is episode 21 of Live Beyond Default Livestream. We've got Michelle, we've got Dave. And the cool thing about this show is, I mean, as amazing as we look together, right? You don't really have to watch the show. You can have it on in the background. Just keep the tab open if you're at work, have it on in the background, get some positivity in your morning. You can have it on while you're driving. You can have it on while you're working out or doing something around the house. Like, you don't really have to watch it, right? And the recording will be here on LinkedIn for you to watch moving forward. So back to the show. Why don't we start off with what are lollipop moments? Now, I didn't know what a lollipop moment was when Michelle and I were doing like the idea of even getting together on this show. She said something about a lollipop moment. And I was like, okay, you're right. That sounds like a good topic. So why don't you lead us into this? Share with the audience like what a lollipop moment is. And we want some people in the comments too to start posting what their lollipop moments were from this last week. Yeah.
I will start us off with a story that I have so many stories, but I'm going to share 2 with you today. My first story, most recently with Dave, and how I really came up with the idea initially was we were coming to the office, going to collaborate on what we should talk about today. And he said, hey, Michelle, actually, can I have your help? I would like love for you to come grab this gift. I was like, oh my gosh, a gift. Oh, please. And so I was like, so like blushing. And so he's like, okay, come upstairs. I'm going to make our bulletproof coffee together. And I want you to be immersed in this experience. I was like, oh my gosh, I've been watching the live streams. I see Dave with his bulletproof coffee every show and his Kanye pepper, because Kanye's the best here.
Kanye's the best. It's the only kind of pepper you could use.
Yes. And so to be able to hear so much about it and to be immersed in Dave's early morning practice, I was talking about like just even seeing your personal space and immersed in your daily practices, as simple as a cup of coffee. I was honored to see you make it. Just be with you chatting in the morning so early. A lot of the world isn't even up at, 7:30 in the morning, but we're already collaborating and moving forward. So I will say that was my most recent lollipop moment with you, just being able to immerse me in your day-to-day. So kind of looking at what a lollipop moment is, it's really the little things in life that stick with you and can change your world in a bigger sense, in a bigger reason.
I like that. So it's the little things in life that'll change your world in a bigger sense.
Exactly.
And do you think a lollipop moment could be something could be perceived or starting off as negative that then could be a learning experience and possibly turned into an opportunity or a collaboration?
Yeah, I would definitely say that's a possibility. Like, let's say, hey, I take the train to work and I'm waiting for the train and man, I just missed it. Hey, maybe I was supposed to miss the train that morning. Maybe I was supposed to then meet the lovely person sitting next to me and, the universe wanted me to meet whoever's next to me and be more present and take some time to take a breath and be in the moment. So it might look like a negative, but ended out, hey, maybe I made a friend that day.
Yeah, I like that. And, speaking of missing the train, it reminds me of sometimes I get caught or I get stopped for a freight train. And 3-4 years ago, I used to be like, freight train, right? Because I'm so important. I've got so much to do that, oh my gosh, 5 minutes is going to make it different, right? Especially when the shit that I order online is what's on that train anyway. So it's like, I used to do that like 3-4 years ago. And then like one day, like I've had all these little aha moments one day. And this was one of them. I was like, you know what? It's pretty cool when I get caught behind a freight train. And I pull up as close as I can to the guy or gal in front of me, put it in park, roll the window down. If it's not down, but just listen to it, watch it go by, deep breathe. And I invest that time and I share that time with myself actually in the car, like not grabbing for my phone, just looking and listening. We call that the sights and sounds of any town, USA.
I'm from Displains. Trains is what it's literally the like train capital of the world. I totally understand.
Yeah.
And I'll challenge you. Don't even turn the radio on. Just sit in the silence and be also beautiful.
Yeah. I like that. I like that a lot. So that could be a lollipop moment too. And you said something there about not turning the radio on. So many of us, when we're running or we're exercising or we're doing tasks, we put music on in our headphones, right? And something Huberman was talking about this. I don't remember the gentleman's name again, but he was just on Lewis Howes. But he's brought up a point which I've heard before, and that's like making, as Michelle would say, a lollipop moment out of something as simple as your workout or running or doing a task. Don't put the music on, because the music now is actually like distracting you from the moment of what's going on and really taking in all of what's around you and what you're doing, and maybe even connecting with your body more. Now, I understand the music, it's pumping things up, we're going. At the same time, it's like, you know what? It's a good point there. So I like that you said, don't bring up music. So what does Ritesh say here? Our team helped a candidate find a job that they really needed and wanted. They were so thankful that they started getting emotional. This made our week. Knowing that we can make this kind of difference is why we do what we do.
Exactly.
That's a lollipop moment there, Ritesh. Thanks for sharing that. Tom says, all 3 boys home from college for a short time is mine. That's super cool, Tom.
Yes.
Thank you. Amelia says, working on being more present is one of the biggest things I'm personally working on right now. Love that, Amelia. I'll drop in 3 things, right? When we're talking to someone and we want to be more present and we're starting to drift, number 1, I start to breathe deep and I think about my breath. Number 2, I look the person left eye to left eye. So it then connects with the right brain, which is actually the connection side versus the analytical side of our brain. And number 3, this is a good one. Think of your toes. And when you're speaking with someone and you start to drift off, or you're watching something or you're doing something and you start to drift off, think about your toes. It gives you a connection then to your brain. And believe it or not, like you get more present within like 5 or 10 seconds. So thanks for sharing that, Amelia. Nicole, good to see you today. It was good to see you last week at the Village Networking. Also, we went to a networking event 2 weeks ago where there was no gluten-free options, and Dave offered me part of his gluten-free lunch, which was so nice. Yeah, right. I remember that. It was good. Made me realize and remember how important it is to help others and share whatever possible. Thanks, Gabe. Also love you both. Nicole, thanks for sharing that. I didn't even remember that.
See, that's the thing. We need to share these moments that the best thing is you might not even remember doing that.
Yeah.
And so I want and I challenge all of you to go tell someone something small that they did that really just made their day. It could be a text, it could be a call, it could be a little note on their desk.
Yeah.
Make sure you go share that because that's the best part.
That's awesome. I love how everyone's sharing. Thank you. Jack says, having a barbecue for clients and friends at Bussy Woods this weekend. Nice. Check my LinkedIn. Oh, Jack, I am very into ribeye, grass-fed ribeye. That's what I want for my order. Lisa says, you go, Amelia. Love that. Jim says, I run into somebody that I haven't seen in a long time. Isn't that a great thing?
Yes.
I love that too. Laura says, had a couple breakthrough conversations, spoke my truths, and was able to release and move past it. Huge personal growth for me. Now, Laura, I don't know who you are.
My Laura, she's phenomenal.
Okay.
She's like my other half.
I love it. That was amazing. I'm going to say that again. Laura had a couple breakthrough conversations. She spoke her truths and was able to release and move past it. Huge personal growth for me. Speaking your truths, as Brene Brown would say, having a rumble with somebody, getting it all out, rumble in a positive way. Rumble got a bad connotation to it, and it's really not. And it sounds like Laura had that, and she spoke her truth, and then she was able to move on and not hold onto the feelings in her mind or here, ultimately being more present, ultimately serving everybody, and not lowering her standards, right? Amen. And that's super key. I love that one, Laura. Thank you so much. Left eye contact. That's fascinating, Dave. Yeah, I remember when I first started practicing that, it would be like, hey, yeah, what's up? What are you doing? Oh, I'm being more present, you know?
Just watch me.
Yeah.
Watch me.
And I don't remember who I learned that one from, but just a very simple shift. And it's funny because it's ingrained in our minds. Like, we know, people will know if you're being present or not. They can tell by your micro facial movements. They can tell if you're like looking around and you don't want to be with them. They just know it. And being present with people, you know, it's funny. I'm going to go out and say this. The more present we are throughout the day, and I'm talking like, shit, if we could even get to like 5% or 10% of the day being present, it's amazing. It almost seems like time slows down.
Yes.
It almost seems like time slows down, and it feels like you have more time when you're present, not thinking about what's going to happen later or what happened before and bringing that into the conversation, but actually being present. It's amazing how it seems like it adds more time.
Yes.
to your day. Julia says, love that, Laura. Julia says, I had my college graduation last weekend, and it was so great spending time with my close family and friends to celebrate. Yes. Julia, congratulations. Thanks for joining us. We'd love to hear that. Love you, Julia Johansson. Congrats again, Julia. Okay, so we're going to keep going. It's 9 a.m. Central Standard Time. You're watching Live Beyond Default Livestream, episode 21. We've got Michelle, we've got Dave, and we're just nerding out on personal growth. And most importantly, we are sharing the love. We are sharing our experiences, and we are so grateful that everybody else is sharing. So we got some more time here. Why do lollipop moments matter?
Oh, man. That we could be here all day, but I would say the number one reason why we need this in our life is one, kindness. And with kindness comes leadership. You need to take a stance in a moment. Sometimes it could be a little bit uncomfortable. Maybe you're speaking up for someone else, or just even picturing, a little coffee shop, everyone's kind of keen hanging out. But if you stand up and do something out of the ordinary, again, living beyond default, spicing up life, that's when we can create these little lollipop moments. And actually, you and I last time, we were talking not about only giving these lollipop moments and stepping out of your comfort zone to make sure that someone is well taken care of, but also taking the time to receive those moments. And one of the stories that I have is I most recently got a fun opportunity to be like a Disney princess. And you all can be Disney princesses. This is why I do these fun opportunities, because I get to be a lollipop giver every day of my life, but especially in this opportunity. But I'm typically a person that loves to give all I have, and I never like to receive. And it all came to fruition during a princess party. Just picture this, me as like Elsa hanging out. And
I can picture it. I really can. I can picture it.
And this sweet young girl, she comes up to me, and there's like a balloon artist over here, and she had like a balloon hat or a balloon flower. And she comes up to me, she's like, Elsa, I would love for you to have this. And I said, oh, like, thank you so much. I'm okay. I would love if you had it. Because like, what is a 25-year-old going to do with like a balloon hat? Like, I appreciated her. She was very sweet, but like, I wanted her to have it because I thought she could have more fun with it. So I said, no, it's okay. Like, I appreciate you, but I want you to have this. And to see the disappointment in her face, everyone, I was like, I should have taken the balloon hat. It was so simple of just saying like, yes, thank you so much. Thank you so much for thinking of me. And I turned her away. And now I will say that literally changed my life. It's kind of eye-opening to really say, this is why we need these lollipop moments. This sweet 6-year-old changed my way of thinking. And we need to be open and transparent in that sense too.
That is such an important story, not just giving appreciation, receiving information. Michael Larson says, every day that I walk into work and see the stadium is a lollipop moment. Michael, the Boomers, tomorrow night, we're going to feel the boom, right? It's opening night. It's ring night at the Schaumburg Boomer Stadium. I'm so excited. I believe it's Wintrust Stadium.
Yeah.
Now. Super excited, man, to see you. And thanks for joining us here. Yeah, I love going to the Boomers games. They're awesome. And I want to expand on that briefly. Last week, I was going down to the coffee shop in my building to get beans, right? Because I'm making my bulletproof coffee. And somebody saw me in there. I was like, hey, Dave, I'm going to buy you a cup of coffee. And I was walking up there, and, I had to go do stuff, right? Whatever that even is, because, I'm so important. And I said, no, man, I've got to go do some stuff upstairs. And then I thought about what you just said there, right? Like, receiving appreciation is so important. Like, when you say no to somebody and they're giving you a gift, it's like, you're shutting down the opportunity for them to connect with you. Like, you're denying their lollipop moment by doing that. So I checked in with myself as I was getting the bag of coffee. He was paying for his. And I tapped him on the shoulder. I said, you know what, Chris? He's taller than me. You know what, Chris?
I'm Chris. I'm Chris.
You know what, Chris? It's really kind. And somebody once told me, I said to the barista, somebody once told me it's not just about giving. It's about receiving appreciation. And I really appreciate the offer that you gave me. 1 black coffee, please. And I ordered a black coffee. And then I ended up sitting there and sharing like half hour, 45-minute conversation with him, being super present. It was a great way to start my day. And I'm so glad that I was able to check in with myself and actually receive the appreciation. So, if maybe one day you'll show up here and there'll be a balloon hat for you.
Oh, shucks.
Can you imagine that?
I would love that.
Oh, Tom Goach says, bling, correction. Oh yeah, Hunter Patch Adams and somebody else. And who else? LeVar Burton. I don't know who those two people are, but I am going to look them up. Somebody else says, I really want a cup of bulletproof coffee now. Makes me feel happy to think about the ritual of making it and drinking it. Yeah, no doubt. Very, very cool. So we got why lollipop moments matter, right? Lastly, how do we create more lollipop moments? And remember, like, no one can control the impact that's going on around us. We take full responsibility for when our energy's like this and we're feeling great, and our energy's like this and we're not feeling so great. Like, the responsibility is on us. So how do we create more lollipop moments? Number one, what you just said there is receiving appreciation. Number two, I'm going to throw in asking yourself wonder questions every single day. So these would be questions like, I wonder what I will learn today that I can share and make things better. And not necessarily make things better, but let's say make someone's day. What's something that I can learn and really create some forward progress with somebody else? Or I wonder how I can get more done in less time. And that's a little bit more structural, but at the same time, instead of saying like, oh, I don't have all this time, just asking yourself that question. I wonder how I can do more in less time. And it's amazing how it actually works. So what do you think about creating more lollipop moments? How do we do that?
Yeah. I would say, again, it starts with being that leader, getting out of your comfort zone and it first starts off with telling someone how they impacted you, kind of hearing their story out and making sure. I'll say, Dave, I'm sure you never thought that making a cup of coffee for me was like, you're just doing your thing, but really it impacted me so much to be involved in your practice. So stepping out of your comfort zone. And guys, this could be in high school. Like, you could go try to stalk them. The social media is crazy these days. Try to find that person that maybe impacted your life 10 years ago. You really sit back and reflect. And that's a wonder question. I wonder what this person is up to. Well, go ahead and reach out. It can't hurt. So
yeah, that's a great idea. A few years ago, I remember looking online for the list of teachers at the grade school that I went to. Yeah. And I found my music teacher because I had brought up my music teacher for many, many years. Yeah. And it was funny. I found her email. I emailed her, and like 5 minutes later, I got a response. Yes. Now, she didn't remember who I was. That's okay. But the point was, like, I brought up specific incidences. She was a music teacher. Her name was Mrs. Leaf, like leaf on a tree, right? Yeah. So I would like explain to her these incidents or these when we would be playing instruments and singing, and she'd be playing the piano. And it was like, you could just tell it made her day. It was only a few sentences back, and I wasn't looking for like all this love. And even if she didn't respond or she didn't get it, it didn't matter, right? Because I just threw it out there. Like, we're not outcome dependent. Of course, we have goals, right? And we want certain things. At the same time, like, we release that outcome dependence. And when we don't have that, we really just enjoy the process and we learn things. And I believe we'll create more lollipop moments with that. So what do you think about maybe closing with the Dum Dum and the classic?
Oh, sure.
You want to do that?
Y'all, I woke up at 3 a.m. this morning. Not sure why. Maybe I was really excited to come on here, but this was like a 3 a.m. thought. So just remember 3 a.m. thoughts. And so I was thinking, it all starts off with a Dum Dum, nice little, small little lollipop, and prime yourself. Just kind of get out there, do little acts of kindness. Hey, the coffee station at work is like empty, I'm going to take some time and maybe restock this and make the cup of coffee for the next person.
Yeah, who left that coffee station empty?
It's burning. It's burning.
When I'm going up there.
It could be something as little as that. And again, holding the door open, a smile, all these little tiny dum-dum moments you can lump together and have a beautiful dum-dum bouquet. And that's kind of where you start.
Dum-dum bouquet. You know what? That's a Twitter moment.
Yeah. Yes, I like that.
Go tweet that for us, whoever is not in the room.
Yeah. All these folks are.
Oh, yeah. All these folks. We have such a big staff here,
Real big deal. And then, so you could take these dum-dum moments, but also take the time to reflect on these like classic moments, that swirl giant lollipop. We all have a giant moment in our life that, again, it could be meeting your significant other, a huge life-changing moment in this partnership. Maybe you just met like one time, quick second, and paths crossed and destiny was a thing that then created a huge staple in your life. So whether it's a dum-dum moment or a classic swirl lollipop, it's all in the same.
I love that. That makes a big difference. And it is all in the same, right? It's those little things that you change or that you don't think make a difference, and it actually does make a difference in people's lives. I'm going to look up LeVar Burton because there's a lot of talk going on about that. And I don't know who it is, but I'm going to look that person up. I like what someone said here too. Release the outcome dependence and appreciate the process. I love that. That's a clutch coaching move. If you want to learn a little bit more about that, send me a DM. Yeah. I got a little process thing I could send you that's on a PDF about that. That's super cool. But yeah, what do you think? You got anything else to say? We've been on, we went a little bit over, right? But that's okay. Like, that's what it's all about. We're here at about 45 minutes.
Yeah.
So next week, I asked Michelle to come back on again, and she said yes. But I think next week we're going to do it on Friday morning.
Yes, sir.
Instead of Thursday.
Yes.
Okay. So next week we're going to do it on Friday. That's going to be May 27th, 8:30 a.m. Central Standard Time. We're going to be on again. We don't know the topic yet, but we're going to come up with it. We're always happy for people to throw ideas out to us, which is super cool. And it's going to be right before the holiday weekend.
Yeah.
And the holidays are tough for some people. The holidays are fun for some people. And what we always like to say, is having fun with purpose, right? Like tomorrow at the Boomers game, having fun with purpose. And what that means is the fun is not taking you away from life, right? Yeah. It's actually reminding you of what you're doing in life, and it's fueling you in life. There was an old line when my parents used to listen to the Eagles, and they said in one of their songs, like, some dance to remember and some dance to forget.
I love that.
And I want to dance to remember. I don't want to dance to forget. I want to dance to remember. And we are going to do our best here on Live Beyond Default to create more memorable moments. And you'll see us next week too. So we'd love for you to share this episode. You could just copy the link, paste it, share it to other people. I love to see how many people come back after we're live and actually watch the show or listen to it. The amount of minutes that goes up is usually like 8 to 10 times. So we're getting a lot of people listening to it later on after it is live. You want to say anything else?
Oh man, I challenge thee, and I love to use the word challenge, even though it's truly not a challenge. It should come easy to you, but I'm just a very driven person. So I use challenge. I challenge thee to go tell someone today how you've impacted their day, their life, smallest thing, biggest thing. Make sure the people around you know that you love them. So
I love that. We'll finish off with a few comments. Craig says, hi, you guys. Julia says, this was such an inspiring, positive way to start the day. Thanks, Dave and Michelle. 8:30 Central Daylight Time next week. Yep. Pulse team will be at the Boomers game tomorrow. Awesome. Tom says, great stuff. Roberto says, it was an honor listening to you, Ms. Norton and Mr. LoSavio. I learned some interesting things. Marcello says, overtime. Thank you for listening. And Shannon is watching it now. All right. And as we like to say, until next time,
stay classy.
and make it a great week. Thank you.
I love it.
Right?
Oh man, I'll dance in the meantime.
You dance in the meantime.
We'll keep it going. Enjoy the weekend, y'all.